Well, good Friday evening and a happy Halloween, and welcome to Hurricane Hub Live. This is the show where we track the tropics, not just the Atlantic, but the Pacific. And it has been a very active week, of course. We had Hurricane Melissa that made landfall earlier this week across Jamaica. Then it went through eastern Cuba, then through the Bahamas. And now it's no longer a tropical system, and that's topping the headlines on this Hurricane Hub on this Halloween night. Melissa is transitioning into a powerful post-tropical system. As a matter of fact, the Hurricane Center is no longer issuing advisories on Melissa, as it is no longer a tropical system. We'll check if there's any other potential development over the coming weeks. And this is a farewell for Hurricane Hub Live for now, because we are coming closer to the end of hurricane season. We still have a month to go, but we'll take a look at why this will be the last official Hurricane Hub Live. Of course, if anything else pops up as we go into the month of November or even December, we'll be back here with a special edition of Hurricane Hub Live. But here's what's going on in the tropics and the Atlantic, the Gulf, the Caribbean. Not much. This is what's left of Melissa. Again, no longer a tropical system, racing at around 40 miles per hour or so off towards the northeast now, just passing here, getting close to Nova Scotia and Newfoundland. As it's racing off towards the north and east over the next coming days, it'll move off into the North Atlantic, and by, say, about Monday, be close to Iceland. So that's what's going on here with Melissa. Elsewhere, quiet. And typically we don't see too much as we get into late October and by tomorrow into early November developing in the main development region anymore. It's really something we see more in the Caribbean and into the Gulf and maybe even off the southeast coastline. Of course, we're also starting to transition more into a nor'easter season. So things are starting to quiet down. No tropical formation is expected over the next 7 days. Now, the Hurricane Center puts out a 7-day forecast. Climate Prediction Center does a 2-week and a 3-week forecast, and we'll take a look at that here now. And the only area that we're really watching is in the western parts of the Caribbean, where the waters are still very warm. That's why we had that rapid development with Melissa as it was making landfall here around Jamaica. So this is November 5th through 11th, so a week out. And again, we're looking at low odds of development. This area shaded in is less than a 20% chance of development. That's week 2. Week 3, really the same area. This is November 12th through the 18th. Again, low chances of development here as well. So things are starting to quiet down. That's one of the reasons why this is the last official Hurricane Hub Live forecast. Now, as we look back at the hurricane season so far, the storm names went from Andrea all the way to Melissa. So we had 13 named storms, and of those 13 named storms, of course, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hurricanes, 4 of which became major hurricanes. 3 were Category 5. That was Aaron, Humberto, and Melissa. Of course, we only had 1 storm that even made landfall in the United States, and that was Chantal way back early into the season. So sort of taking you back to this season, we had Andrea way out there in the Atlantic, then we had Chantal and Barry. And then a lot of the storms curved off towards the east. That was a sort of a reoccurring pattern that we saw for much of this hurricane season. But then, of course, we had Melissa that is now working its way towards the north and east. So we still have, again, a month to go in hurricane season. It runs from June 1st all the way through the end of November, peaking on September 10th. So here's where we are, October 31st and the 1st. And notice how much of a difference. So these are all the named storms that we had between 1944 and 2020. And again, you can see how it's really concentrated here from August 1st to about mid-October. And then we get that sharp drop off. You can still see activity in November. It's not unusual that we see something trying to pop up. And we've had systems even as late as December, and even in January we've had tropical systems form, although a lot of times those are short-lived and not very strong systems, as you would expect. But again, we are coming here 1 month left into the Atlantic hurricane season. And as we take a look at the percentage of named storms by month, you can see June, 6% of the named storms form in the month of June, 8% in July, but 27% in August, 34% in September, and 17% in October. As we get into November, only about 5% of the named storms form. Again, another reason why this will be the last official Hurricane Hub Live on weeknights and weekends at 8 o'clock. Again, should something develop into the month of November, we'll be back here with a special edition of Hurricane Hub Live. And We always want to check the Pacific because overall that was a pretty active season as well. And right now, nothing going on again here in the Pacific. Same sort of forecast. Tropical formation is not expected over the next 7 days. So I guess it's apropos here on our last official Hurricane Hub Live that things are quiet now in the Atlantic and Pacific. And certainly after this week that we had with Melissa, we're thankful for a quiet pattern starting to set up. Of course, our thoughts go out to all those folks affected in the Caribbean and the Bahamas by Hurricane Melissa. So I'm 13 News Now meteorologist Evan Stewart here at 13 News Now in Norfolk, Virginia. Thanks for watching Hurricane Hub Live again. This is the last official forecast for Hurricane Hub Live. Again, if something develops as we head into the month of November or elsewhere, we'll be back with a special edition. But thank you for watching this summer. And of course, we'll be back next summer with more Hurricane Hub Live.